You've probably felt it. The version of you that shows up at work, confident, composed, isn't exactly the same version that shows up around your closest friend. And that version isn't quite who you are when you're alone either. It's like we're constantly switching between masks, some more comfortable than others, but masks still. Let's look at some reasons on why we adapt. Because over time, we've learned that being fully ourselves doesn't always feel safe. We adapt. We read the room. We become more agreeable at work, funnier with friends, quieter at family dinners. Not because we're fake, but because we're trying to fit in, avoid conflict, or meet unspoken expectations. It's part survival, part habit. Psychologists call it self-monitoring, adjusting your behavior based on the social setting. And to a degree, it's natural. We all do it. But the problem is, when we do it so often that we forget what the real us even feels like. Even the famous struggle, Barack Obama, after his presidency, once shared, "There's a version of me that exists in people's minds, but the truth is, I'm still figuring myself out, still trying to stay rooted." Even a global leader, known for composure and charisma, admits the challenge of staying connected to the self beneath the spotlight. Adam Driver once said in an interview, "I'm very good at adapting to people, but it sometimes makes me lose track of what I actually want." He wasn't talking about acting. He was talking about life. And he's not alone. Jim Carrey, reflecting on his career, said, "I spent so much of my life trying to be something for someone else. Eventually, I forgot there was even a me underneath all of it." Why does it matter to be more of yourself? Let's be real. Pretending is exhausting. It's like running emotional Windows updates in the background all day. Sure, everything looks fine, but deep down, your soul is buffering. When you constantly perform a role, it might feel safe or productive, but over time, it creates distance from your core. You start making choices not from inner clarity, but from habit, pressure, or fear of judgment. And the cost? Disconnection, anxiety, a quiet sadness that you can't quite name. Because deep down, we all long to be seen, not for the part we play, but for who we truly are. Living authentically isn't just some feel-good idea. It's foundational to real connection, peace of mind, and meaningful direction in life. The more we neglect our true self, the more we lose access to our intuition, joy, and unique voice. Now let's go deeper and see the psychology behind it. Clinical psychologist Dr. Gabor Mate, who has worked extensively with trauma and addiction, often says, "The loss of self is the greatest source of suffering in our society." He describes how many of us betray our authentic needs and desires, not maliciously, but because somewhere along the line we learned that being ourselves wasn't safe, accepted, or lovable. Psychiatrist Dr. Carl Jung believed that one of the key tasks of adulthood is what he called individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are, apart from the roles and masks you've been handed. The performance can be convincing, even to ourselves, but eventually it starts to crack. Plus, and here's the twist, the people who love you for your mask, they're loving a character. But the people who love you when you're fully you, that love sticks. That love heals. So yeah, being yourself might feel risky, but being someone else forever, that's the real danger. In this next section, let's see briefly how one can notice when we are slipping into a role. Here are some signs. You feel tense or drained after social situations, like you were on the whole time, performing more than just being present. It's not that you didn't enjoy it, but it felt like work. You replay conversations in your head, wondering if you said the right thing. You notice your voice, tone, or opinions change depending on who you're with. You avoid silence or deep moments and feel a constant need to perform, to entertain, agree, or impress. Stillness feels awkward, so you fill the space with jokes, small talk, or smooth answers. It's like there's a quiet fear that just being yourself might not be enough. You feel disconnected from yourself, even when everything looks fine on the outside. You might be doing all the right things, saying the right words, being who people expect, but something feels off, like you're watching yourself from a slight distance instead of actually living from within. These are small clues, but if you slow down and notice them, they speak volumes. Here is the main part where we look at some of the practical ways we can come back to the real us. It's not always some grand awakening. More often, it's quiet, subtle, a series of honest moments that start adding up. Here's what helps. 1. Start journaling after social situations. Not in a performative way, just a few lines. How did I feel after that dinner, that meeting, that phone call? Was I energized or drained? Did I speak freely or filter myself? Over time, you start to notice patterns. Here, I felt like me. There, I was playing a role. You might realize you feel most alive talking with that one friend who just gets it, and most disconnected in rooms where everyone's posturing. That's gold. 2. Create moments of silence. Put the phone down. No playlist, no podcast. Just pause. Even 5 minutes in your car before going inside. Ask yourself, if I didn't have to impress anyone today, what would I do? It's a strange question at first, but it starts peeling things back. You might find that beneath all the shoulds is something softer, something true. 3. Pay attention to what feels effortless. What conversations feel easy? Who are you around when your shoulders drop and your voice gets real? That's not a coincidence. It's a clue. Maybe you light up when helping a friend untangle a problem, or you lose track of time while sketching, writing, walking, cooking. That's not just a hobby. That's you, unmasked. 4. Be honest in low-risk moments. You don't have to drop all your armor overnight. Start small. Say, I'm tired when you are, instead of powering through. Say no to something that doesn't feel aligned, even if it's just lunch plans. Each time you tell the truth, even in tiny ways, you're building trust with yourself. You're proving that it's safe to be real. And over time, that changes everything. Tiny moments like that teach your mind it's safe to be real. And when someone responds with kindness, that moment heals something. 5. Don't shame yourself for the mask. Just notice it. You learn to wear it for good reason. To belong, to stay safe, to be accepted. That version of you was doing their best. So instead of judgment, bring curiosity. Why did I feel the need to hide there? What part of me didn't feel welcome? Compassion is what allows the mask to loosen. Not because you force it off, but because you realize maybe you don't need it anymore. Coming back to yourself isn't about reinventing who you are. It's about remembering, unlearning the roles you've played, and returning to what's always been there underneath. It's not always easy, but it's worth it, because the real you is not just enough. They're everything. At authentically.org, we're not chasing ideal versions of ourselves. We're peeling back the layers to find what's real and live from there. No more versions, no more acting. If this hits home, share it with someone who might need it too. Let's live unmasked. Let's live authentic.